Hello, X. Today we are going to talk about how you can find out and how much we can find out and what it takes to get there. So as you can see, the Democrats are at max fuck around levels here. This ultimately results in max find out levels. They must be retarded. As of late, we have been seeing max fuck around levels by AOC and other D employees. It appears that they really want to find out. Not such a good idea with enemies in my corner.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the following program. I'm your host, Joe Neerman, aka Good Lawgic. I need a roaring crowd button. I don't have. Where's my roaring crowd button? Where is that? Where is that? I don't know where that is. I don't know where that is. And not for me. Not for me. No, I don't deserve a roaring crowd. Not that. No, not when I show up here 11 minutes late or whatever it was that I was late. That doesn't deserve a roaring crowd. No, what deserves a roaring crowd is this. That's right. It's Clarence. It's Clarence and Pam.
Solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
That I take this obligation.
Nope.
That I take this obligation freely.
Without any mental reservation.
Without any mental reservation.
Or purpose of evasion.
Or purpose of evasion.
And that I will well and faithfully.
And that I will well and faithfully.
Discharge the duties of the office on which I'm about to enter.
Discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Welcome aboard, Pammy. Look at that, Pam Ronning coming in here as we got Pam Bondi getting sworn in. Get cracking that whip, Pam. Get cracking that whip. Oh, here we go. I know you need an FBI director. He's coming. Cash is on his way. He's on his way. Don't be so ominous tonight. I ain't so ominous. I ain't synonymous. I ain't synonymous. I don't know what you're talking about. Quite the contrary. Quite the contrary. I'm going to start with a story that a lot of people make a big deal about. This is obviously not even going to make it out of a committee hearing. but what the heck? Just for dookies and giggles. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on in the House. The House wants to impeach Trump. They want to impeach Trump. That's right. Let's impeach. That's coming soon. Coming soon to a theater near you. Here we go.
And still I rise.
And still
Mr.
I
Speaker.
rise.
And I rise today, Mr.
Representative Al Green from Texas 9th District. I'm pretty sure that's Dallas. Now I gotta see. Which city is in Texas 9th District? Oh, it's Houston. See, I thought. All right. I thought that was that was Eye Patch Pence. I thought that was Eye Patch Pence domain. Houston. I thought Houston. I was sure. I was like, oh, okay. Little known fact, by the way. If you live outside New York, in New York, where there's actually a street, it's called East Houston, spelled the same as Houston. Yeah, I don't get it. You would think that I could have just looked at, where it says Houston, Missouri City, Maryland. You think I could have just like looked at this little thing here? No, 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 no. I don't trust C-SPAN. We don't trust C-SPAN. Why would you trust C-SPAN? Pam has a crap history with 2A, Joe. The rumor is she wants a cop for a head of the ATF. I'm not happy about hearing her AG. She can't be trusted yet. Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. Look, I recognize. Okay, look. When what's his face? Chubby McGee, the guy who is Bill Barr. When he came in, everyone was all excited about him. Everyone was all excited about Bill Barr. All excited. Especially when they named the special prosecutor Durham. Everyone's like, oh, here we come. Here we come. We saw all the memes coming of like, him marching out Obama and Biden with handcuffs and all this other stuff. We know what a disappointment that they frequently become. But right now we remain hopeful that little Pammy is gonna go out there and just start wielding a hatchet. Now, trust me, if she's a failure. You've been here for a year. Remember, for 12 months. Freaking 12. I'm going to give you a horn for that. 12-month member GB. I agree with you. And you know that if she's a failure, I will call her out. But for today, we're going to be hopeful, optimistic. Everyone's telling me, and don't be synonymous. Don't be synonymous, Joe. So I'm being optimistic. Well, and you should know, by the way, actually, in my family, I have the perfect balance with Lady Lawgic. Perfect balance. We're in like simpatico, because when I first married Lady Lawgic, I would describe her as, being very much glass half empty, very, very much glass half empty, and teetering on the edge of the edge of the table there. Like, it's half empty and it's about to tip over. I'm like, and whereas I've always been glass half full, and it looks like rain. So what do you complain about? Might be overflowing soon. So we balanced each other. And I've actually done very well. She's come a long way. Actually, one of the most amazing things about my wife is that she has a genuine capacity for self-development. And that was something that I spent a long time drilling into her. That, like, being being down doesn't help anything. So trust to God, do your best, hope for the best. Oh, thank you. Adding to the storytelling fund. The storytelling fund that Femme Natal is talking about over here is that I put up there, I always have a goal every night. If I get 15 yellow or above, I am going to tell over my story in the next 2 hours. I'm going to tell over my story about how I was pulled over by an Israeli cop when I was in Israel. Yes, just a couple of days ago. I think it was my last night. Yeah, it was my last night there. I got pulled over by an Israeli cop. It was a pretty funny story, actually. I'm going to refer to so many people as Chubby McGee going. You're welcome, Aaron. You're so welcome. Anyway, so Representative Al Green has issues. He got issues, and these issues, in his opinion, mandate that we impeach Trump. I rise today to impeach Trump. Tell us, Al. Tell us, Reverend Al.
Mr. Speaker, with a to whom it may concern message. To whom it may concern. Ethnic cleansing in Gaza.
What? Ethnic cleansing?
Gaza.
What? No. What are you talking about? Ethnic cleansing? Heaven forbid.
It's not a joke.
What's ethnic cleansing? It's not ethnic cleansing. Calling it ethnic cleansing, that's like saying in World War II we were ethnically cleansing the Germans out of Germany. Like, no, that's not ethnic cleansing. I had a little debate with some crazy leftists on X today, because why wouldn't I? And he used this whole ethnic cleansing thing, and I wrote out a lengthy thing, like a lengthy a lengthy thing about this. A lengthy. I'm not going to share it with you. You got to go. You dig it up. You'll find it if you search hard enough for my replies. And yeah, a lengthy breakdown. And one of the things I didn't put in there is this is one of the things that everyone who's screaming genocide or ethnic cleansing, what they don't realize is this. If they cleared the Palestinians out of Gaza, and let's say made it Israeli territory, it still wouldn't be ethnic cleansing because there's millions of Arabs living in Israel proper, and they would have full rights to go in there. So still plenty of Arabs living there, not ethnic cleansing. Whoops. Al says, dastardly deeds. Rass and frass and dastardly deeds. 70 Sam. That's great. I forgot about him. So many great characters in Bugs Bunny.
Especially when it emanates from the President of the United States, the most powerful person in the world. When he has the ability to perfect what he says. Ethnic cleansing in Gaza is no joke, and the Prime Minister.
No, but you're a joke. Oh, sorry.
Minister of Israel should be ashamed.
You should be ashamed. I don't think you have the first damn clue what's happening over there. I don't think you got the first darn clue. Not the slightest.
Knowing the history of his people, to stand there and allow such things to be said.
What such things?
Ethnic cleansing.
What such things?
Has been a crime against humanity.
You don't know what the definition of ethnic cleansing. That's the problem here. Was it ethnic cleansing when we were in Vietnam trying to clear out all the Vietnamese folk or North Korea? Was that ethnic cleansing? Oh, you're going after all the Koreans.
And I stand here today in the well to denounce what was said, to denounce what the president said, to denounce the complicity of the Prime Minister of Israel, and to remind people that Dr. King was right.
Oh, God. Lord. Everyone invoked Dr. King. What was he right when he said that you should not be judged by the color of your skin, but by the content of your character? Is that what he was right about? Because you guys don't seem to quote that part of him very much of late. Of late. We don't hear that very much.
Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
You're an injustice. You're a walking embarrassment to Congress.
And injustice in Gaza is a threat to justice in the United States of America. I rise to announce that the movement to impeach the president has begun.
Oh, it's begun. Guns are blazing. Whoops, we don't have guns anymore. We got rid of them. And we don't believe the Second Amendment. But well, with canes are blazing. Canes are blazing.
I rise to announce that I will bring articles of impeachment against the president for dastardly deeds.
Dastardly deeds.
And dastardly deeds done. I also rise to say that the impeachment movement is going to be a grass-up movement, not a top-down.
Oh, yeah.
The people have got to move forward.
The people have got to move forward, and I am their shepherd. I even got my staff here. We'll march through the wilderness, leading the children of Israel against Donald Trump.
The people have to demand it. And when the people demand it, it will be done.
Moses Green coming on out here with his staff rising up. With his rising up from the grass. Rising up. I guess he thinks that's what grassroots movement means. We're rising up from the grass. Everyone's asleep in the grass. I'm going to wake the dead and get them up out of the grass, not just for voting, but no, to impeach Donald Trump, because that's what actually happens. That's the way it works if you want to get an impeachment. You don't really need to get congressmen and women. No. You just need to get folks who are laying in the grass. Get the grass, all them grass layers. You know, maybe, I don't know if they're weary from playing ultimate frisbee football, whatever, but there's way too many grass layers, okay? Way too many of you. Let me just pause and just point out, look, maybe you're one of those people who's just laying in the grass there. You think that, like, oh, this is what I can do. I'll just, like, sit back here. First and foremost, I'm going to point out to you is January, okay? Really stupid time to lay in the grass unless you're in the southern region of the country, in which case maybe it's okay. Or the West Coast, because God knows that that's the one blessing that God gives the West Coast is just ridiculously awesome weather all the time. But if you're one of them grass layers that Al Green is looking for you, okay, and we're gonna rise up from the grass, okay, and we're gonna march on through the wilderness, we're gonna march on down into Capitol Hill, DC, there, and we're gonna demand that Donald Trump be impeached. Demand that we stand up because injustice in Gaza, as perceived by Moses Green over here, this injustice is not going to stand any longer. And we're going to get up there and we're going to say, we're all going to vote. All you grass risers, you're going to get to vote in Congress to impeach him because that's the way things work. That's the way things happen. We're going to impeach him because that's what Al Green wants to do. So good times are coming. Good times are coming.
I did it before. I laid the foundation for
Did you?
impeachment.
Oh, yeah. How'd that work? Who was removed? Who was removed? Tell us who it was. Who was it? I don't remember this.
And it was done. Nobody knows more about it than I.
Really? Really? Nobody knows more about it than I. Nobody.
And I know that it's time for us to lay the foundation again. On some issues, it is better to stand alone.
Have you ever got an impeachment? Have you ever got an impeachment when you were a minority in the House? Didn't think so. Didn't think you ever succeeded in that, did you? Did you, Al?
Did not stand at all.
I don't know why there's a peach. It should be R-E-P. It should be R-E-V, Al Green.
On this issue, I stand alone,
Yeah.
but I stand for justice.
No, you don't.
I yield back the balance of my time.
You stand for grandstanding. That's what you stand. I'll stand here grandstanding. I am going to stand here grandstanding. It's something that can never possibly happen. And just scream up about how I'm rising for justice. Hopefully this will go viral and I'll get won't have to raise many funds for my next campaign when I'm touring around Houston, whatever other stupid cities are in the 9th district there. And I'll be able to come back up here in 2 years again and say, I'm rising for impeachment again. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. What an utter waste of space. What a waste of space. And you guys thought that I was going to bring the funny tonight. I was bringing you impeachment. What could be funnier than that? Oh, my God. God. What an idiot. Dastardly deeds. Snidley. Whiplash. He's going to catch the pigeon. Dastardly deeds. I guess snakes lay in the grass also. I hadn't really thought about that. I'm assuming none of you are snakes, but he might be. He's probably scurrying for some snakes. Do dastardly deeds have the smell of audacity? I don't know. That's a good question, Warren. I'm not sure. I ain't sure. I don't know what to do with that. They might. I guess depends where in the grass they're laying. If too close to a cow pipe. Quit being so hip hop anonymous. I'm a hip hop synonymous. What was Flight of the Conchords? Oh, what was his name? Oh my God. What was his name? It was Hip Hopopotamus. Was that what? It was Hip Hopopotamus, right? Flight of the Conchords. I know some of you know what it is, okay? I know some of you are old enough that you remember when the internet was young and new and fresh. And you remember Flight of the Conchords. Don't tell me you don't remember Flight of the Conchords. That's when we actually learned that New Zealand is not the same as Australia. That's when we learned that. But it's Flight of the Conchords. I would pull it up here, but I'm positive that that's just going to result in me staying up till 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, trying to like edit it out because YouTube is going to be like, you stole someone's content. Wouldn't it be fun for the people to rise up and unseat Al Green in 2026? That would be amazing. Due to Biden inflation, dastardly deeds can no longer be done dirt cheap. No, they're very expensive dastardly deeds. Geico caveman at Congress. He really does. Now I gotta look at him again. That's very helpful, Steve. You should have said it in a British accent. You should have said it in a British accent. That's very helpful, Steve. So there you go. We got Pam Bondi. We got our impeachment. And yeah, I'm going to skip this part. Let's start moving into USAID. USAID. Now, in stark contrast from Al Green, this guy here is spitting facts. I'm going to give you a guy who's spitting facts, and he's mad. He's mad, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. Former Democrat voter. This was shared with me. Who shared this with me? Someone shared this with me. Cat Rap. He pissed. There will be more. This guy is spitting it. So I'm not sure who Cat Rap is. I don't remember the name very well. But I'm getting old, and I'm also tired. If I didn't mention it yet, which I'm pretty sure I haven't mentioned it yet, I haven't slept since last night. It's facts. I've been up for like the last 24 hours because my entire sleep schedule is just wonky. And I'm kind of overtired. But I think in a good way, where like I'm all chipper and I'm all in a good mood. Like, you know, like when you're so far past tired, because like I said, my sleep schedule has just been really wonky since I flew back. So yeah, I've been up since 7 o'clock yesterday. So I'm a little tired. But I'm feeling juiced. I am going to warn you, there will be probably a moment where all of a sudden I'll just be like, but we're not there yet. And it really could come at any time. It could come at I could be like literally in the middle of anything, and you'll see like a little dribble of drool coming down from the corner of my mouth as I'm sort of like just nodding. It's a really good chance that might happen at some point. Please don't clip it. All right.
This fucking political party.
Ooh, starting hot.
The Democratic Party have lied to us about everything. They've lied about being the party of the middle class. They've lied about being the party of peace. They've lied about being the party that wants to help poor people. Okay? What the last several weeks have proven to us all is that this is a cadre of criminals and losers and spoiled children of affluent parents who were more concerned about looking good than actually doing good. These are people who were more concerned about looking like they were doing something for the American people than actually doing things for the American people. And that's why I'm so angry. Because this party lied to me while stealing my tax dollars. The Democratic Party lied to us all while they brought in millions of illegal immigrants for their own political purposes for the last 4 years.
Yep.
20 to 30 million illegal aliens brought in. And now we come to USAID being probably the largest money laundering operation in American history. Congratulations, Dems. You've outdone even Bernie Madoff. I'm disgusted beyond words. Disgusted with the waste of money. Disgusted with the waste, with the fraud. With the way that you people use color legitimacy and the way you use black people as fucking mules to get us to push whatever fucking agenda you wanted to. The amount of division you used black people to sow upon the American people, you used us for that. And I will never, ever forgive this political party. The shit that I've gone through personally. Y'all were supposed to be the party of free speech, the party of women's rights, You have immolated all of those things.
God.
And then, as if enough weren't enough, you then decide that you're going to die on the hill of USAID, a government audit.
Yep.
You're trying to prevent a government audit because some of you really are trying to stay out of prison. We see the game now. Y'all been out here telling us that the game was rigged against certain people. Well, now we found out who the people that were rigging the game were. Congratulations. Y'all are never going to win another political race ever again. Not if I can help it.
Damn. Coming in hot. They're, like I said, coming in hot. Democrats are ticking people off, getting them really fighting, spitting mad. Yeah. I saw something here that I just wanted to find. Where was it? It was here. Give me a moment. Flight of the Concord was epic. No, this was before. I was in the middle of doing my thing. I didn't want to slow my roll. But I was seeing something here, and I was just like, "What the hell are you talking about? What is that? What is that?" And I don't know if I'm gonna find it so fast. I'm gonna find it. Give me a minute. Yeah, I don't see it. But oh, here it is. There we go. I got one question, you dumb. What 41 days are you talking about? Seriously, what are you talking about? 41 days. What? That's like saying I'm not sure how you come to the 41. I don't really see that. I don't see that. No, I don't see that. I counted up everything there. I counted up every day. There'd be like 2, 4, 6, 13 days. It's often falling out on weekends. Okay. Ooh, 41 days. You've been reading some good stuff. Some good stuff there. I don't know. That was like in the protocols or something. I don't know where you found that. 41 days. I don't know what's in your library. 41 days. Oh my God. 41 days. Flight of the Concords is on X. Is it really? It's on X? Oh, wow, they are. Look at this. Those of you who are not familiar with Flight of the Concords.
Now you see the lights have come up.
Those of you who are not, I appreciate this from you, Denise. Thank you. Thank you, Denise. Check this out. This is Flight of the Concords.
Now you see the lights have come up a bit. You see it is us.
We're one of the biggest bands in New Zealand now.
In terms of the number of members.
Just two irresistible forces. The tension is mounting. Here, want the honor from human resources. And all fear from accounting.
Anyway, they were a comedic rock band, and they wrote some good stuff. Good stuff. That's okay, Joe. We old timers say talking sleep before. So since you talking sleep once before, you were very blue then. I don't believe that actually happened. I think that's all myth. Suggestion: listen to your show. Sleep. I see what you did there. Listen to my own dulcet tones. One of the ways that I actually maybe that explains why my sister claimed when I was a youngin that I talk in my sleep. Perhaps that was to help me stay asleep. Joe, Kathy Schnett and Kat Rappa are both me. Oh, well, thank you. Oh, well, God bless you. You did good. You did good in sharing that with me. Thank you. My eyes are so open now thanks to Doge, Elon Musk, and his text doing digital archaeology. I love it. I love it. Since you just arrived back home from the Mideast, how are the Preds going to deal with Jordan threatening to invade Israel over the PAL refugee problem created by the president's plan? I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. Dang if I know. Listen, honey, listen. I leave all this stuff, the diplomacy, to Trump. Because one thing I learned from the first administration is when it comes to foreign diplomacy, he has a certain knack for dealing with both friend and foe to benefit America up and down. I defy you. I defy you to come up with any nation that he dealt with that when he was done dealing with them, you said, oh, that was a bad job. Defy you. Because I'll tell you right now, the way he dealt with Russia, with China, with Korea, with ISIS, every country he was dealing with, in his first term, every one of them, the way he's dealt so far with Colombia and Mexico and Canada, Panama. Heck, even I got high hopes we're going to end up with Greenland. I don't know what's going to happen there. So you're asking me what he's going to do about Jordan? I don't know. I don't think he knows yet. I think he rolls with the punches and figures it out as he goes along. But I think he has a structure of a plan, but how those particulars are going to work out, not a prophet. Nor is Trump, and it's possible he could blow it somehow, but I have confidence in the man. He's earned my confidence. But we just heard from a gentleman who was outraged with the way the Democrats are attacking USAID. And I want to get a little bit into USAID and a story that surfaced today about whether or not they were funding Politico. You may have read if you were on X or other places. I don't know what they're talking about on other social media channels, which are obviously less important than X. But you may have seen. Oh, I think I don't like it anymore. We'll leave that off. So you may have seen that there's all this talk about Politico not being able to make payroll as soon as funds from USAID were shut down, and speculation that funding that was because they've been funded by USAID. This has been deemed a scandal because all of a sudden we have our government is basically financing propaganda because Politico has been notoriously anti-Trump, anti-MAGA, and for years, and it's being funded by our government. That sounds like Pravda, right? I mean, what the hell is that? What is that? Why would that such a thing be? So I want to analyze that with you as to whether or not that story has legs or not, because I've been seeing this way and I've been seeing that way, and I'm going to share with you what I've seen, and we're going to reach our own conclusions. You can come back to me and let me know what you think. Oh, I did forget. I had Breck Nichols down here. My favorite Yosemite Sam quote: after sitting at a campfire, he jumps up and shouts, "My biscuits are burning! My biscuits are burning!" That's pretty good. That is pretty good. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thanks to the distraction and entertainment tonight, I needed that. It's been a week and a half of chaos. My father-in-law is in ICU recovering from open heart surgery. Israel Ben Chaim. Sorry about that. One old guy's opinions. Ratskin's foreskin fake ranting and raving. I never seen Scummer Schumer so spry. Booker looked like a guilty man getting angry at becoming the gander. Maxine Ward looks like the love child of Little Richard and James. Ow, I feel good. What? living in America. She really does. That's a really good call. That is such a good call. Richard and James Brown. Wow! Wow! Backing out. Oh my God. That's one. That might be my. You know, you've commented here. Your fair share, one old guy, and that might be my favorite one. All right, so let's talk a little bit. Let's analyze. It does, right? It was really good. It was really good. That was really good. That was really, really good. I agree with you, Kelly. In fact, I'm going to actually upgrade. I'm going to upgrade you. It was so good. This one was so good. I'm going to upgrade you to this one. There you go. That was rock solid. People need to, in case anyone was sleeping, they need to wake up for it. All right. Where was I? Here it was. All right. Beau French put this together. This thread on. Why is this not getting bigger? Get bigger. Oh, for the love of God. All right. We'll just do it this way. Why is this not getting bigger? I don't know why that's not being a thing. That's not good. All right, the USAID story is eliciting reactions that seem surprising to most people. Let me break down the real story for you. A short thread. USAID is a front for the CIA. I don't know how folks know this. I don't know how they know this. They're an unaccountable agency under the cover of humanitarian efforts overseas who operate via various NGOs to carry out domestic operations. When the dust settles, we're going to find out that most of the domestic terror we have seen the last few years, think BLM and Antifa riots, were funded by USAID. That's just the tip of the iceberg, according to Beau French. Who's Beau French, you might be saying? He's the chairman of Tarrant GOP, the largest red county in America. All right. They've been able to get away with this for so long because almost everyone elected office in D.C. is either getting paid, just like the media orgs, or they're scared to raise the ire of USAID. Trump knew all this, which is why USAID was the very first government agency to get shut down. It's the conduit through which most of the deep state in D.C. operate. Now it's gone. The shrill responses from the new party eunuchs will grow louder until their own corruption is revealed. Buckle up. When all is revealed, it will not only end many political careers, but there will be convictions and prison sentences. Bold words from Mr. Beau French from Texas. Could be. I don't know. Liz Wheeler. Why can't I get this? This is PDF. I'm going to try to save it. Oh my God. There's a whole thing happened. Oh, what? Oh no. Oh crap. Oh no. I clicked something bad. Oh, I clicked some. I got hoodwinked. Oh man. Not good. Oh, because I was trying to help get this bigger. Get it bigger. That's what she said. I really wanted to. All right. Well, we're gonna have to make do with what we got. That's also what she said. The comment needs a tip. That's what she said too. All right. It hurts so bad that winning feels surreal. It really does. Turns out USAID was donated to the Tides organization that in turn donated to BLM. Every conspiracy theory is actually true. Seeming like that. It's seeming like that. All right. The political scandal is worse than you think. I would make this larger if such a thing was a capacity that I had, but I don't. Just saying. I'm really overtired. All right. The political scandal is worse than you think. It's not $8 million that Politico received from USAID. It's 34.3 million. You know what? Let's come back to this one. We'll come back to this one. We'll come back to her because I'll show you in order of what I saw. There was this from. There was this here from our woman Catherine Leavitt. Catherine Leavitt talking about USAID.
Upon coming out here to the briefing room, I was made aware of the funding from USAID to media outlets, including Politico, who I know has a seat in this room. And I can confirm that the more than $8 million taxpayer dollars that have gone to essentially subsidizing subscriptions to Politico on the American taxpayers' dime will no longer be happening. The Doge team is working on canceling those payments now. Again, this is a whole of government effort to ensure that we are going line by line when it comes to the federal government's books. And this president and his team are making decisions across the board on, do these receipts serve the interests of the American people? Is this a good use of the American taxpayers' money? If it is not, that funding will no longer be sent abroad, and American taxpayers will see significant savings because of that effort.
Look at that.
So
who couldn't applaud that? You know, one way to help balance the budget is not to just, you know, what the left always says, raise taxes on the rich, but to actually, you know, slash waste. That's one way to do it. Now, I want to call your attention, though, however. Okay, there's definitely a problem I'm having with this. I don't know why I can't. Seriously? Let me see something. Okay, I'm starting to sense the problem here. Starting to sense the problem. As for okay, and it's my end, but it's not me boomering. Normally, you know how like when you enlarge a screen, so you sort of like hold the control button and, well, I'll be right back. I need like 30 seconds. Wow. 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 Oh my God. That was terrible. Wow. Wow. USAID got Joe. Oh my God. That was a disaster. So my keyboard, for one reason or another, I don't know why, I was using it right before the show and during the show, and all of a sudden my keyboard wasn't working. So I went behind a computer and just sort of plugged it into like a different USB port. And it's because it wasn't working, I wasn't able to hit control and enlarge anything. And that was very frustrating because, well, you know, sometimes I like having things running a little bigger. Is this the right thing? Please be the right thing for the love of God. Yeah, this is the right. Okay. So, anyhow, I feel like I'm missing a lot of stuff. God, what a disaster. It's not. Anyway. So, and when I switched it, and when I went back there and I pulled out the cord and then plugged it into a different USB port, for one reason or another, all of my windows shut down. So I came back here and I was out, and all my setup isn't looking like it's supposed to look. I don't understand what's happening here. Let's see. Let me try and find my history. Give me a second here. Here it is. Phew. All right, crisis averted. Oh my God, that was scary. We are one closer to hearing the story. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Jay Wills. God bless you. All right. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Screen. Sure. Look at this. Now I can enlarge, you know, like a normal person. Just trying to figure out what the hell is going on there. Thank you, Lily. You're too kind. Remember, for 29 months. Oh my gosh. I'm going to blast the horn for that. Oh, okay. I think I know what happened. What happened was, I think it was my Elgato Stream Deck that shut everything down, and that's why it's not working now. All right, one more second. Almost there. I got this. Where are you? It's not in downloads. Where's Elgato? It's going to be. Let's check in here. All right, I can't blast the horn just yet. Sorry. My Stream Deck's not working now. Everybody's working overtime, living in a man. Wow, I'm flat. So that's what she said. I'm really talking to myself now. Okay. Yeah, I don't know that I'm gonna be able to fix Stream Deck before for the rest of the show. So I apologize. I don't think I'm gonna have sound effects the rest of the night. All right. They sell cream to those websites and enlarge and improve performance, just $19.99 or your money back. Oh, it's funny you say that, because I think when I said before I clicked on something and I'm like, I think I clicked on something bad. I think that's what did it. Thank you, Lily. Remember, Kennedy said omelets are better than sex. I don't remember which Kennedy said that. I don't know. I never heard that one before. All right. USAID funded journalism needs scrutiny. This is an article I saw. I shared with you how Trump's press secretary was saying, we know that Politico has been getting financed. Well, this is a gentleman here claiming Not so fast. Not so fast. This morning, I woke several friends and readers asking me about viral social media claims from last night regarding USAID and Politico. The conspiracy theory suggested that ongoing spending cuts at USAID and the foreign aid agency were shutting down domestic media outlets supposedly dependent on government money. As evidence, several large accounts noted that Politico personnel had failed to receive payroll. Political management in an email attributed the issue to a, quote, technical error that would be fixed shortly. Yet many suspected a direct connection. Here's one of many viral tweets making this claim. Kyle Becker, a guy I follow, said, fun fact, Politico received USAID funds. Everything makes sense now. 8.1 million total amount awarded. On Tuesday, it was reported that staff Politico did not get paid for the latest pay period. The company just sent several emails to employees saying it believes it was a technical error and looking how to fix it. So Li Feng here is saying this is wrong on many counts. USAID contract records show that the agency spent a grand total of only $44,000, not the $8.1 million claimed in viral tweets on Politico LLC for subscription services. For context, Politico operates two forms of news services. General political news content is published on the Politico website and its email list for free, supported by advertising. For sophisticated readers, business execs, lobbyists, government agencies, Politico provides paywalled pro subscription services that cost over $10,000 per login for up-to-the-minute detailed reporting on policy decisions and regulations. The government pays for this information, and Politico offers other branded services in this category, such as subscriptions to E&E, energy reporting, and agency IQ. Okay. If it's $10,000 per login, I don't know how they spent only $44,000. That I have a hard time believing. But this is what Li Feng is saying. This isn't unique to Politico. Bloomberg and LexisNexis, among others, sell similar data industry news subscriptions for tens of thousands of dollars, focusing on exclusive political and policy-related reporting. The $8.1 million in Politico subscriptions referenced above relates to years of subscriptions by agency officials across the government. There is no evidence that the freeze in USAID funding had any impact on Politico payroll. So we just heard Catherine Leavitt, press secretary there, saying they are on the pay, that they were being funded by USAID. He's pointing out here that the $8 million, for all we know, comes from subscriptions by agency officials. That said, USAID does separately fund various questionable news operations. So he's trying to say here, look, I'm not saying that no one's bad. I'm not saying that the government wasn't funding any propaganda. I'm just claiming we have no evidence that Politico was one of those. And he names off a few here, which are companies you probably never heard of. Coda Story, an anti-disinformation news outlet headquartered in New York, revealed in its audit report that the National Endowment for Democracy, the sister nonprofit that works alongside USAID, provided special grants to finance its journalistic ventures. The Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project, OCCRP, a major investigative news outlet responsible for the Panama Papers and other blockbuster news series, relies heavily on USAID. Ryan Grimm recently reported that U.S. government money comes with strings. Officials have used their leverage over OCCRP to influence the editorial and personnel decisions at the outlet. So this is literally state-sponsored propaganda. But these are not Politico. These are entities I never heard of before. Probably many of you never heard of before. Although largely focused on uncovering corruption related to U.S. adversaries such as Russia, OCCRP has occasionally reported on American figures. Their reporting on Rudy Giuliani's political work in Ukraine was a significant factor in congressional investigations into the first Trump administration. Okay. Here's OCCRP's most recent audit report showing its government funding sources: 11 million from U.S. agencies, including 5.7 million from USAID. Hmm. 11 million. Where's your 5.7 million? I don't see the 5.7. Oh. This part here. Subtotal assistance listing 98. This 5.7. I don't know. USAID money flows to contractors operating news outlets worldwide, such as Pact Inc. and the East West Management Institute. Yesterday, I wrote about USAID contractor Internews, which operates and funds several Ukrainian news outlets, many of which have called for censoring pro-peace American journalists and activists over false allegations that they are Russian agents. I've been called a Russian agent for expressing that. Most insidiously, these Ukrainian outlets act as independent fact checkers, providing outsourced content moderation services to Meta and TikTok. In other words, these outlets operate as a convenient third parties for U.S. government to censor dissident voices in ways it could not do directly. Internews is one of many such contractors. Internews operates a variety of news outlets in Europe, Latin America, Middle East, and throughout Africa. USAID finances much of it. See the audit reports below. And unlike Politico, there's actual evidence that the freeze on USAID spending is impacting the American government's quasi-shadowy constellation of news operations all over the world. So what gives credibility to what Li Feng is saying here is he's not denying that USAID is engaging in corrupt activities. He's simply saying there's no evidence from this 8.1 million number that Politico was in bed with them specifically. Voice of America reported independent news outlets in more than 30 countries, including Austria, Ukraine, and Myanmar, are facing cuts or at risk of shutting down over the USAID freeze. Ironically, of course, Voice of America is also funded by American taxpayers. So I read this and I was like, I don't know. Seems to make some fair points here. Still not sure what the 8.1 million is about from him. Still not sure. But, so I saw that and I was like a little confused. And I was like, maybe Politico is not being funded by USAID. Okay. But then I come to this from Liz Wheeler. Hopefully this gets larger now. Oh, there we go. This is a thread. This is a thread she wrote. She claims the Politico scandal is worse than you think. It's not 8 million. It's 34.3 million that Politico has received from various swampy federal government agencies. Politico is, without a doubt, a totally corrupt propaganda arm of the swamp. Follow along below. All right, let's see what she's got. Notice when Politico started receiving bulk payoffs from federal government. The money started flowing to Politico in 2015, same year Trump descended that golden escalator. Then the payoffs skyrocketed under Biden. Who paid off Politico? A veritable laundry list of the most corrupt federal agencies: HHS, Department of Education, Department of Agriculture. You can see HHS, 6.97 million. Department of Education, 4.2 million. Department of, I don't know who this is, Treasury, 3.5. Department of Agriculture, 2.54. Executive Office, 2.2. No wonder the propaganda from Politico was in perfect alignment with the swamp. On stories of critical national significance, Politico propagated lies that Hunter Biden's laptop wasn't real, but was Russian disinformation. A vicious lie that changed the outcome of the 2020 presidential election. Politico was so thoroughly subsidized by the U.S. federal government that yesterday they missed payroll, claiming it was a technical glitch. But do you believe them? After they spent the past 10 years quietly receiving payoffs from the swamp to lie to you? No Politico journalist who participate in this propaganda effort should ever be trusted again. Elon Musk needs to doge this ASAP. So I don't know what to make of this. She's bringing receipts. I'm not a huge Liz Wheeler. I'm sort of on the fence. I know she's right leaning. I know that. She's bringing receipts. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that Politico is on the take? This is a good poll question. Great poll question. This is the poll question of all poll questions. I don't know. What do you guys think? This is the poll question you all want the answer to. Right? This is what you wanted. Let me engage with your audience, start a poll. Do you think Politico is funded by... You now have all the information I have on this topic. We'll have yes, no, really not sure. My issue with Liz Wheeler, in case you're wondering, is I feel like she's a bit sensationalist. I feel like she can be a bit sensationalist at times. I'm not a big fan of that. The reason it's a big deal if they would be funded is because, they're holding themselves out as independent journalists, and they're literally speaking on behalf of, they're being funded by the government. So.
And I declare upon the...
Yeah, it's kind of a big deal. Thank you so much, Amiana. I appreciate you. That's very kind of you. Oh, maybe I can get this. Can I get this? Oh, God. That's not going to work. Not payroll, but possibly bonus money. I don't know. Late, mostly not a cult. I accidentally clicked those websites from time to time too. No worries. Yeah, well, the worries were that it crashed. I think it crashed my whole system here. Viktor Orban, that is the Prime Minister of Hungary, I believe, tweeted unhappy about Politico in Turkey, and Robbie Starbuck printed an internal memo they sent out to employees after not getting paid. You want to send that to me? I'll try checking that out. If you send it to me, I'll try checking it out. But speaking of, I'll cover one last thing about propaganda from USAID. More propaganda from USAID while you're sharing that with me, hopefully, Kathy. And this is reported by Jim Ferguson, UK. Doge uncovers USAID-funded internet censorship operation in London run by Nina Jankowicz. Do you remember Nina Jankowicz? I remember Nina Jankowicz. I remember her very, very, very well. That's Mary Poppins lady who became the queen of misinformation. This is her song.
Them in Congress or a mainstream outlet, so disinformation's origins are slightly less atrocious.
Yes, she's that wacky. Look at the closed eyes. What the hell?
Atrocious.
She's got cats, right? I mean, she's got cats. This girl, I don't know how she managed to keep the cats off camera for for like 90 seconds that she's filming this thing.
It's how you hide a little lie. It's how you hide a little lie. It's how you hide a little lie. When Rudy Giuliani shared that intel from Ukraine, or when TikTok influencers say COVID can cause pain, they're laundering disinfo and we really should take note and not support their lies with our wallet, voice, or vote. Oh, information laundering is really quite ferocious. It's when a huckster takes some lies and makes them sound precocious by saying them in Congress or a mainstream outlet. So disinformation's origin seems slightly less atrocious. Whew.
It's worse every time I see it. Every time I see it, it gets worse. That's Nina Jankowicz. Jankowicz, infamous for her cringeworthy disinfo musical, was put in charge of Biden's Orwellian Ministry of Truth. Remember when he tried rolling that out until everyone was like, this is totally unconstitutional. Now we learn she's been running a censorship machine funded by American taxpayer dollars through USAID. Globalist-backed suppression of free speech exported across the Atlantic, across the pond. The deep state's global censorship network is being exposed. This wasn't just about America. It was a coordinated effort to silence voices worldwide. Now it's all coming to light. Mike Benz, the intrepid reporter, Mike Benz, says, why is USAID funding Nina Jankowicz's internet censorship project in London? Center for Information Resilience. Are you funded by any government? Yes, we have received grants from the UK government, Foreign, Commonwealth, and Development Office, US State Department, USAID, and Australia's Department for Foreign Affairs. All funding with specific projects related to our mission to investigate human rights abuses, war crimes, and disinformation. This lunatic who thinks she knows what's information from disinformation. The lunacies. Funded by USAID. Unbelievable. So, yeah. Bo tweets my DMs. Thank you. I'll check there in a second. Her kitty is a cave of cop. Oh my gosh. One old guy. It's a family show. I would stick her with. It's a family show. Joe, nothing I gotta waste money on shocks me. Well, of course it shouldn't shock you, but it's nice to expose it. I have to ask my $10 back. How dare you? How dare I what? How dare I what? What did I do? We got 11 out of 15. We got 11 out of 15. We're doing good. 88% of you think that Politico is funded. 10% not sure. 2% saying no. Right.
Do you believe the Department of
All right. I should put this over here. Move this over here. Okay. Why do you need your $10 back? I don't understand that. Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate you. All right. There was one more main thing I wanted to talk to you about. That's not it. This is it. Okay. One of my main featured stories is that I wanted to discuss with you all. Oh, before I get into this, let me just close out here with what Kathy shared with me, because I think she shared with me. Oh, Sandy shared that with me here. Yeah. So Viktor Orban tweeting out, so apparently USAID financed ultra-progressive Politico in Brussels and basically the entire left-wing media in Hungary under the previous U.S. administration, and they call me disruptor of the year. I think the world owes a debt of gratitude to President real Donald Trump for uncovering and putting an end to this dark conspiracy. No joke, indeed. I also had Robbie Starbuck sent this out. This is the note Politico sent out after it was revealed that they take millions of taxpayer dollars every year. This section reads to me like a threat that they're going to write hit pieces about Doge for taking their money away. Quote, here's the most important point for our newsroom and subscribers alike. We believe the work of a new administration and the work being done by Doge is a hugely important story, in particular because of the ambition of the new administration to transform large sections of the government. Our responsibility to cover this from every angle is urgent. Here's what political bosses miss. Taxpayers don't care if a grant funded the millions they received or if it was a subscription set up by some crazy lady in HR at the Treasury office. They still took our money, and it's wasteful. Doge taking that money away seems like a strong motivator to attack this administration for taking it away. Any negative story from them going forward has to be seen through this lens. Team, as surely many of you saw today, there was a spirited discussion at the White House and among officials connected to the Department of Government Efficiency on the subject of government subscriptions for journalism products at Politico and other news organizations. This is a fine conversation to have, and we welcome it. The value of Politico subscriptions is validated daily in the marketplace. Some parts of today's conversation, however, were confusing and left some people with false understandings. For this reason, we want you to hear from us on several points. Politico has never been a beneficiary of government programs or subsidies, not 1 cent ever in 18 years. What about the Department of Education and Department of Agriculture is giving millions of dollars that Liz Wheeler was reporting on? We have offered a professional subscription service starting with Politico Pro since 2012. It provides both private and public sector clients with granular, fact-based reporting, real-time intelligence, and tracking tools across key policy areas. We're proud of the value our Politico Pro platform and policy journalism gives to all subscribers. As a practical matter, the overwhelming majority of our professional subscriptions on the Politico Pro are in private sector. The value of this journalism is clear. What are we getting from this? I don't know. I think Robbie nailed it with the bottom part here. Where they say the most important point for our newsroom and subscribers like, we believe the new work of a new administration, the work being done by Doge, is a hugely important story, and we're going to do everything we can to trash it. Essentially, I agree with Robbie in his read of that. I think Politico's scraped up money from the sofa cushions paid Lee Fang for that article. Could be. Could be. My whole family wouldn't either, Joe. Oh, you're talking about your... Oh, I played the atrocious... The XBL atrocious clip. USAID is the tip in the game. Just the tip. Just the tip of the iceberg. It's true. It is just the tip. It is just the tip. But it always starts with the tip, doesn't it? Always starts with the tip. All right. And then you dig deeper. Where was I? Oh, this is what I wanted. Okay, this is what I really wanted. This is something I stumbled on that I don't think it's been seen by nearly enough people. You may have seen it. I don't know. But for the longest time, we've talked about how the media all of a sudden just goes whoop, in lockstep with each other with like crazy, weird directions that it's just like, oh, it's been debunked. It's been debunked. This everyone knows. Like they'll just all start using the same terminology. And I always wondered, like, how does this happen? How does this happen? You've probably been wondering, how does this happen? And like me, you probably assumed that there's some sort of organic level to it, where it's like they'll see someone else say it and start mirroring each other in the whole legacy media, where you can't tell the difference between ABC News and CBS News, right? You can't tell the difference. No one can tell the difference. And MSNBC is a little bit further left, but all these different, even Fox sometimes, they just start mirroring each other over and over again. So, and you'll see like reporters on different reporters, different stations, all using the same condescending term. And you're like, how does that happen? That all of a sudden you're like, you figure they're copying each other. No, it's much deeper than that. It's actually coordinated. It's actually coordinated according to John Conrad. You might be saying to yourself, who is John Conrad? Because I'd be saying that if I were you. Joe, what source are you giving us here? John Conrad claims, I don't know, this is what he says about himself, that he's a CEO at Captain Maritime News. Ship captain, author of Fire on the Horizon, co-founder, Unofficial Net, blacklisted by Wikipedia, K5HIP. So that is John Conrad. I assume maybe John Conrad V. I don't know. But it's definitely, is it John A. Conrad V? I don't know. Definitely John Conrad. That much we know. Okay. So that's him. He doesn't have a huge following. It's 53,000. About the same size I am, actually. So he said, I opened my New York Times app today. They're trying, but they can't keep up. News that broke just hours ago is already off the homepage. This is crucial. The entire liberal deep state command and control system is broken. Let me explain. And here's his thread. So we're going to walk through how they operate. The New York Times' primary function isn't journalism. It's narrative coordination, setting the frame so the entire political media machine knows how to think about an issue before it takes off. So it all starts with the New York Times, that they are the lightning rod. They are the trailblazers for how a story is going to be covered. Ever notice how overnight everyone started saying Biden is sharp as a tack or J.D. Vance is weird? I couldn't believe it. It was the weirdest thing to me because it doesn't make sense. And you look at J.D. Vance, you could say a lot of things about J.D. Vance. You could say he looks like a Cub Scout, an overgrown Cub Scout. You could, make jokes in that direction. Weird didn't make any sense. It just because he didn't seem weird. He didn't seem weird. Like if I was trying to come up with some way to attack J.D. Vance, which the left obviously wanted to come up with some way to attack him when he was tabbed as being Trump's VP nominee. So weird was it was a very unusual choice. You never heard of a politician being labeled weird before, and there was nothing spectacularly weird about him. Quite the contrary, as far as just looking like a weird person, Tim Walz looked like a lot weirder person than J.D. Vance. And it's like, okay, so one person thinks he's weird. All of a sudden, everyone's like, weird. It's weird. It's weird. It doesn't make any sense. And the reason it makes sense is because it's not random. It's a system. The narrative pipeline, how the blob operates. The New York Times, NPR, WAPO, CNN, and the rest don't just react to news. They function as a distributed, decentralized mission command system for the Democratic Party and the broader blob. Step 1, local bureau chiefs. These guys are stationed across the country, watching which stories gain traction and fielding calls from Democratic operatives, feeding them narratives, stories that they need to start controlling. Step 2, New York editors, bureau chiefs snip the news and send it to New York, where an editor triages it. So if it's a story they don't like, they try to figure out how they're going to repair it. Will this explode nationwide? Will it simmer for days, or should we bury it? Just not talk about it. Step 3 is the editorial meeting. The most concerning stories get flagged. Here, editors decide on the narrative framing and who to assign to write it. So like when you had the 51 agents on the Hunter Biden laptop, that was probably coordinated by the New York Times and WAPO and CNN. But before they assign a journalist, they make one critical call to the deep state. Why? To give the government a head start on controlling the story. At this point, deep state doesn't just say, here's what happened. They strategically select sources based on the tone they want. That's why Tim Wall started using weird when he was talking about J.D. Vance, because he knew that that's where the New York Times was going. He knew that's where WAPO was going. He knew the entire legacy media machine because they had basically been in contact with them, literally working in lockstep with the Democratic Party. If they need hawkish China rhetoric, they have a China hardliner expert on speed dial. If they want to downplay a Chinese spy scandal, they go to a dovish China expert who will say it's being blown out of proportion. It's a military scandal. If it's a military scandal, they pick a trustworthy retired general to suddenly steer the discussion toward a desired conclusion. They're like, oh, look, listen to this general. He says, and they know who's going to basically be giving them the quote they want. And all of a sudden, he becomes the expert who tells us that, oh, no, this happens all the time. I don't know why it is that the Republicans are trying to make a big deal about this. It's all a stage. It's not journalism, it's perception warfare. Once the tone is set, the editor assigns a story and suggests the approved sources to call. The journalist's job is simple. Get quotes from the right experts, write it up, stick to the approved angles. If something goes wrong with the angle, for example, a source exposes it as a lie, they return to the editor for guidance. Occasionally, this is really, to me, this was very informative. I'm actually learning a lot here as to how legacy media operates. And I was like, as soon as I saw this, I was like, I'm definitely going through this thread with my audience. Because I think it's important for all of us to understand just how coordinated they are in propagandizing the nation. I mean, these are all these different news outlets who are supposed to be competing with each other, working together to help the Democrats. This is not a conspiracy. This is what's happening. It's not, well, it is a conspiracy. It's not a theory. Occasionally, a journalist oversteps. If it's minor, it passes. If it's major, the editor kills the piece, buries it on page 16, or reassigns it to a more trusted writer to correct the framing. Overstep too many times, and you're reassigned to local news or gently. If it's not your fault, we love your spark, just downsizing, let go. Do a really good job sticking to the approved script, you'll get awards or book deals and travel assignments. Nobody flatly says this award is for towing the party line because that would expose the scam. No, these journalists are smart. They either pick up the reward incentives or they're gently pushed aside. Suddenly, every news outlet, late night host, blue check is reinforcing the same message. And because they aren't technically taking orders, they're voluntarily doing it. They think it's their own independent analysis. This is why the narrative feels so unified. No one's forcing compliance. It's a system that rewards alignment. Now, each individual pundit and blog is allowed to post independently, but they all know unconsciously to work the narrative because that's where the money is. That's where the rewards are. If someone breaks the narrative in a big way, intentionally, there are three options. One, smear campaign to make them toxic. So someone comes out and is basically like, Democrats suck. Two, ban them from the system. Wikipedia blacklist, social media throttle, no DC party invites, no Pentagon press papers. Three, turn them into a double agent who claims to buck the narrative but subtly shifts things left. Barry Weiss is the ultimate genius at this. So he's claiming that Barry Weiss, she's pretty left. She claims she left the left, but she's pretty far left, even now. Not all stories emerge organically. Sometimes deep state calls first. A senior editor gets a call. Everyone in DC is talking about how weird J.D. Vance is. The next morning at the editorial meeting, that becomes, people are saying J.D. Vance is weird. Let's get some stories on that. Then every editor repeats it to their reporters. Did you hear J.D. Vance is weird? Let's explore that. Suddenly, every news outlet, late night host, and blue check is reinforcing the same message. And because they aren't technically taking orders, they think it's their own independent analysis. Oh, we got this. The deep state tries its best to play a soft hand, to let things emerge, around the narrative and only step in if the narrative is evolving in a bad way or new information disturbs the narrative. So where does the organic command and control system come from? Well, the military, of course. Why this matters? The mission command model. This decentralized coordination mirrors how the best militaries operate through a doctrine called mission command. A bad general micromanages. Move 3 platoons and 6 tanks around this road, attack the base. A good general gives flexibility. Take this logistics base by X time, figure out the best way. A great general sets intent. We need to cripple their supply lines. Here's what we know about the logistics. The best commanders set objectives, not orders, then let their officers adapt on the ground. This is exactly how the New York Times and the Blob operate. They don't give direct orders to every outlet. They set the intent, how the political media machine should think about an issue. Then think tanks, columnists, TV hosts, and activists execute their own variations of the message. Why Republicans keep losing the narrative war? Republicans don't have this. No clear commander's intent, no unified messaging net framework, no ecosystem where think tanks, media, and party strategists move in the same direction. Instead, it's chaotic, reactive, and uncoordinated. Meanwhile, Democrats, this is craziness. Am I alone in thinking? I can't be alone. You guys, this is crazy, right? I mean, it's crazy. It shows you how dead legacy media is, that with all of this, they still got crushed. I mean, crushed in November. Meanwhile, Democrats operate like a well-oiled mission command system, not because of a single top-down controller, but because every key player understands their role in pushing the message. And until Republicans build a competing system, they'll always be playing defense. But Trump has broken the Dems mission command system. The famed fighter pilot John Boyd, who literally wrote the manual for Top Gun, came up with the OODA loop. OODA is a process for making better calculated decisions faster. Observe, orient, decide, act. What? Okay. I can't go into all the details of how the food system works. If you can throw a lot of information at the enemy, information of all kinds, including false information, they start to get overloaded. That's when it's called the fog of war. Now, military have been doing fake attacks and fake information, maneuvering around objects for centuries. But what the Boyd Foundation is, you just can't just overload the enemy system because your troops will also get overloaded with information. What you have to do is move and adapt. That's thrown out a ton of information, then let your officers change frequently. In the field, an officer might bypass logistics base and go for the train rail, but then misinformation causes the enemy to abandon the base, so the officer will turn around and destroy it. In a fighter jet, you might fly straight so the enemy thinks you have a problem. Then when he's on your tail, most people would push the throttle. Boyd said it might be better to drop the flops as a brake to make the enemy fly right past you. Be unpredictable. Boyd called this maneuver warfare because you're always maneuvering around the enemy. If you cannot only throw out more information, but move a lot faster than your enemy, change tactics on the fly, you will get inside the enemy's OODA loop and win easily. That's exactly what Trump is doing. The sheer numbers of stories is absolutely overloading the New York Times app. New York Times editors do not have time to coordinate with deep state and coax the process. Trump is completely overloading the information distribution system. And he's not just overloading the system, but he's moving fast and adapting tactics. Instance in Panama, he was demanding the canal, but then when he went down there, he took a quick win with giving Navy ships free transit and kicking China. Then he's on to Canadian tariffs before New York Times editors can figure out what the hell happened in Panama, and well before they can develop a narrative for Panama. Boyd didn't just teach us how to defeat the enemy, he taught us how to recognize when you're already winning. The easiest way to tell, the enemy starts making really dumb moves. They waste ammo shooting into empty forests, convinced you're still there when you actually left 2 days ago. They fly in as senior general to bark orders trying to reassert control of a situation already spiraling out of their hands. Sound familiar? Because that's exactly what Democrats are doing now. Schumer is firing up a constant stream of bombastic orders, desperate to override events he can't control. The media is fixated on asinine distractions like the price of eggs, while the real war is being fought elsewhere. When the enemy is losing, they can't see the forest for the trees. Take the aid collapse. Massive exposure of corruption. Instead of grasping the real problem, Democrats have tunnel vision, obsessing over physical access to the building rather than its deeper rot it's exposing. And when they're really losing, they go after the general. Boyd taught us that when an enemy's out of options, they target the figurehead, hoping to break morale. That's exactly what's happening with Elon. But a great general knows the game. Patton famously commanded a full fake army during D-Day, letting the enemy fixate on him while lower-level officers did the real work. And that's where we are now. Democrats are flailing, distracted, and losing control. Meanwhile, the real fight is happening far below the line of sight. In short, the sheer number of stories on the New York Times app right now, no deep, clear narrative, tunnel focus on things that don't matter, bombastic attempts by generals like Schumer and AOC, all points to one irrefutable fact. Trump is literally running circles around them. Did Boyd teach us how to defeat massive maneuver warfare like the kind Trump is executing now? Yes, but one maneuver warfare. It's insanely hard to stop in any scenario. It's designed to keep the enemy off balance. What looks chaotic is actually a well-planned assault. Trump isn't just making one move at a time. He's prepared multiple maneuvers for every possible response. He really has. When he attacks a specific front, he simply drops one plan and picks up another, fully baked, ready to go. He's had years to refine this. Democrats, they're starting from scratch. Maneuver warfare isn't just about the 4 steps Elon, JD, Hegseth, or even the 3 stars cabinet secretaries. The real game is won by the 1 star and 2 stars, the undersecretaries, chiefs of staff, and frontline commanders. And Democrats, they haven't even begun to focus on the actual battlefield command center. Guys like Michael G. Waltz, a literal Green Beret who spent 2 decades mastering maneuver warfare. Number 4, I'm not allowed to explain to them how they can win in a Twitter thread. If Democrats want a shot, they'll have to start reading John Boyd themselves. JK out. So he got shared by Elon, by Don Jr., and rightfully getting credit for putting together a remarkable thread, walking us through how the system works. Because honestly, for the longest time, I've been wondering. I've really been wondering. I'm like, I don't know what the hell's happening here. Hey, Eric Hunley's here. A lot of what you see is from press releases coming out and lazy reporters. Could be. I'm simply saying it doesn't. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy how all this just start saying weird. It's kind of weird. You see Jem Psaki saying kind of weird. Let's face it. He said he likes to drink his coffee without milk. Pretty weird. You're like, what? How's that? That's weird. Really? Why? Weird. It's kind of weird. And then Van Jones. Well, everything we see from JD Vance. Just weird guy. Tim Walz. All of them just start saying the same thing. And you're like, they're so used to gaslighting us that they assume, if they say it, then everyone's going to repeat after them. Just like, I'm going to vote whatever the celebrity tells me to do. They're so far behind. It's not just Politico. It's New York Times, Washington Post. That's what we're going to see. And you want to know why I think you're right? You think the New York Times is stupid? I mean, yes, they are. But you think they're financially, maybe they are. But you think they wouldn't be like, hey, why is only Politico sucking from the government teat? Why aren't we sucking from the government teat? I think LA Times isn't saying we want our shot at the nipple. You think that all of them, all the big players, of course, they'd be like, oh yeah, sure, we're just going to let this little dinky Politico that showed up 10 minutes ago or 10 years ago, whatever, to New York Times 10 years ago is 10 minutes ago, and they're going to just be raking in billions of dollars from the government. We're not going to touch any of it. Please. I don't buy it. No. I think Jeff Bezos made his billions of dollars. Owner of the Washington Post, you think he made his billions of dollars and not going to take from the government? Come on. We're going to find they're all sucking. That's what we're going to see. One old guy I'm really overtired. Can you tell? Can you tell? Trump administration is doing well in under a month. 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. The whirlwind's coming, rattling cages, pulling rugs, shaking trees, breaking eggs, Dems and rhinos, dogs and cats living together. It's utter chaos and running around scared, yelling, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. Speaking of the sky falling, how close am I? 13 out of 15. Oh my God. 13 out of 15. Oh, I think we're going to make it. I think we're going to make it. Also, read the book Trust Me, I'm Lying, Confessions of a Media Manipulator by Ryan Holiday. I heard of that book. Let's try to get my hands on it. Thank you. In the military, that process is called information operations to win hearts and minds, plus some souls here and there. Could be. The irony is that this juggernaut story can't and or won't be covered by legacy media. That's so true. Therefore, plebes are still clueless and kept in the dark. Yeah, but you know what? I really think that you probably have at least a third, if not closer to 50% of people getting their news now from alternative media. I think at least a third of American citizenry are getting the bulk of their news from alternative media. This is where it is. This is where people come to folks like me. This is where it is. Every day feels like Christmas lately. Thank you to you for the stream. My pleasure, Chris. Thank you for coming around, brother. Why the two female president candidates running mates look like weirdos who drive white utility van near playgrounds? Oh, what? Are you talking about Kamala and Hillary in elementary schools? That's weird. Everything about them, it's like they're sitting there praising every weird looking they, them, and then saying JD Vance is weird. It's like, who are you talking to? You're sitting here praising the ridiculous Paris opening Olympics. Those are the ones, oh yeah, JD Vance is weird. What? What? They're so bad at their gaslighting. Found Conrad X at the boat hit the bridge. Oh, yeah, he seems pretty good. I just discovered him today. I don't know how it ended up in my feed. Probably from Don Jr. I think he retweeted him and said, he wrote, if there's one thread you read today, make sure it's this one. So I did, and now you did too. I did, and now you did too. What else did I have here? Oh yeah, we still got the education department. Okay, I still got that. See wrap-up smear by Nancy Pelosi as well, Operation Mockingbird, and roll it into an essay. Yeah, I saw that clip of the wrap-up smear from her. But you're right. This is a good point for me to pull that up. It's only like a 90-second clip of Nancy talking, where I don't know if she was drunk, that she actually admitted what and she claimed the other side was doing it. We're like, wait, you seem to be really familiar with this. I played it here on this show before, but here it is. It's a 30-second clip of Nancy Pelosi from years ago.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You demonize, and then we call it the wrap-up smear. If you want to talk politics, you call it the wrap-up smear. You smear somebody with falsehoods and all the rest.
It's astonishing she actually admits this. So you smear someone, you just basically go out there and defame someone, tell complete lies about them.
And then you merchandise it. And then you write it, and they'll say, see, it's reported in the press that this, and this. So they have that validation that the press reported the smear, and then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made.
So I'm going to sit here defaming. I'll say it to the media, and then when the media reports on it, saying some sources say, then you say then the person who spread it in the first place can come back and say, it's being reported in the media. being reported in the media. Hence the wrap-up smear. I want to hear a story. I also know half of that because I used to have a podcast based on military international affairs. It was in the audio-only days. Oh, cool. You want to hear a story? You made it. Tell your story. Waiting. Okay, fine. You know, my ex broke latest. It did. It did. All right. Before I move on to, I'll keep my promise. Before I move on to the Department of Education and one other story I want to cover, I will share my story. An hour and 40 minutes in. Okay. A quick story. I spent a year studying in Israel, 1989, 1990. I was 19, turning 20. And when I was there, I heard a story of this guy who was jaywalking, and he was stopped by the police. He was an American, stopped by the police. Now, most Ortho Jewish Americans speak enough Hebrew to get by if they're so inclined. If they're so inclined. So, he's caught jaywalking and he gets whistled down by some cop. And as soon as the cop turned around and saw the cop. The cop started yelling at him for jaywalking and yelling at him in Hebrew. So in Hebrew, the phrase for I'm a good person is ani ish tov. Ani ish, ani, I, the am is implied. Ish, man, tov, good. The word for pencil is iparon. Iparon. So this American turned around as this Israeli is screaming at him for jaywalking, and he figures he's going to get a jaywalking ticket. And he turns around. The legend has it. He turned around to the cop, and he just goes, "Ani iparon tov." And the cop just looked at him like, "What?" And he's like, "All right, just go, just go, just go." Well, last night that we were in Israel, this was Sunday night, so I guess your time was probably Sunday afternoon. Doesn't matter. But for me, it was Sunday night. And we were supposed to be having a meeting. Well, I was supposed to be seeing extended family who were all getting together in a restaurant because how often do I get to see my Israeli cousins and stuff like that? So we sort of set up a WhatsApp group for the Sunday night dinner that we were going to, when and where we were going to meet. And I'm driving down the block and I'm 2 blocks away from the restaurant. When all of a sudden, and I got in the car with me, Lady Lawgic sitting next to me in the back seat, I've got my son, daughter-in-law, and my 10-year-old daughter. And all of a sudden I see flashing lights and this guy sort of waved me over to the side of the road. And he goes, so I said, so we're waiting for him, and he's sort of standing by the side of his car there. And I said, I look at my family, and I just really turned to them, and I was just like, no laughing. You understand me? No laughing. No laughing. Because they're hearing me the whole week. I'm engaging with shopkeepers. My Hebrew actually got somewhat better, much better than when I was 20. And I actually developed a little bit of better pronunciation of my Hebrew even. And then during the course of the trip, I was teaching Lady Lawgic and my daughter some Hebrew. So he comes over to the passenger side window. I roll down the window, and he starts yelling at me that I didn't stop at the crosswalk in Hebrew. And while he's in the middle of yelling at me, I was like, if I say something, I really wanted to say Ani Iparon Tov, just so that the legendary story that I heard in the heyday of my youth I would know that it actually happened once. I really want to do the whole Iparon Tov, but I said, this is my calculation in my brain. I was like, if I say those words in front of my wife and 3 kids sitting in the back seat, they are going to explode in laughter. And there's no way it's going to work. There's no way that's never going to fly at all. So he starts yelling at me in Hebrew that I didn't stop at the crosswalk, because in Israel, wherever they have a crosswalk, if there's anyone within, I don't know, 400 yards of it, you're supposed to stop and let them cross, which is I learned to drive in New York, so that's just not what we do. That's just not what we do. The crosswalk is there as a reminder that there might be a traffic light turning red. That's what the crosswalk is for in New York. I don't know why they have, I don't know what the points, any other points of the crosswalk. Probably where you live, it's not like that. But where I come from, where I learned to drive, the crosswalk is basically, it's a reminder, hey, keep your eyes fixated a little bit above, like, you know, above face height, because maybe the light's going to turn red on you. That's what it's for. So when he pulls me over, he rolled down the window, he's like, he starts babbling really fast, and he was saying that I went to the crosswalk and he wants to see my driver's license. I'm not going to give you the whole Hebrew rendition that he's doing. And he's in the middle of talking to me, and I'm like, I said, I'm a good driver. I don't know why you pulled me over. What's going on? And he continues talking to me in Hebrew, and I'm like, no, so I wasn't speeding. I was even looking at my speedometer. He's not even talking about speeding. I was looking at my speedometer. I was driving very careful. I'm a really good driver. I don't know why. Why would you put me? And he stops, and he's like, he goes, he's saying, you don't speak Hebrew? And I'm like, I'm supposed to be, I just ignore the question, because how would I understand what the question means? And I'm like, look, I'm supposed to be going to a dinner. I'm just going like another 2 blocks. So I think this is the point in the conversation where we should just be, because I'm a good driver. I'm an excellent driver. I'm an excellent driver. I'm a really good driver. I'm a really good driver. So rega, it's rega, which means 1 minute or 1 second, right? The other thing Israelis do, by the way, this is a total Israeli thing, is that they'll like they do this whenever they want you to stop talking and have patience. The word in Hebrew for patience is sablanut. So they instead of just saying sablanut, they'll do it like this, sablanut. Sort of like, sometimes do it like this, like 2 fingers, 4 fingers, sablanut. When we rented the car, and they made us wait for like 40 minutes before they would take us, and this was at 5 o'clock in the morning. This is on when we first landed, standing in the airport there, and I was like, what is happening? Why? How you have one person here? He's been here for 40 minutes, and the guy just, they don't even say a word. He's just like, he doesn't look at me. This is such an Israeli thing. Just the little is part of it. You have to do the, if you don't do the, it doesn't count. You have to, which is, I guess for Italians, it's kind of like kishman tuchas, but like they wouldn't say kishman tuchas because that's probably not very Italian-esque. But that's, and when that happened at 5 a.m. and I hadn't slept, I was like, I turned to Lawgic and I was like, he just gave me one of these. She didn't understand the reference. She's like, what? I said, he just gave me one of these. I'm here for 10 minutes. I got one of these already. So now when he's basically, when he realizes I don't speak Hebrew, he goes, Rega. So I said, so I'm a really good driver, and I think that you should just let us move along here, because there's nothing, I mean, what? I didn't want to pull out my license. That's like, I don't want to start with this, like pulling out a license. They're going to ask me for registration. I don't even know where all this stuff is. So after he raised that to me, Rega, so he goes, and he walks over to the other side of the car. I hear him calling to on his thing, asking on his walkie-talkie thing, asking if anyone in the area speaks English. So he's like, And then he comes back to us a minute later, and he just goes, "Sa," which means go, travel, get out of here. My son was very impressed with me on this one. And he asked me after if I did it on purpose. I was like, oh, heck yeah. So he says to me, "Sa, go." And I had a flashback. In that moment, I had a flashback to an episode of Seinfeld. There's an episode of Seinfeld, in case, look, I'm old, so I remember Seinfeld. It's an episode of Seinfeld when George Costanza wants to get audiobooks. And back in the 90s, when life was completely different world, there's no such thing as podcast or Spotify. If you want to get audiobooks, you had to be deemed legally blind. And he didn't want to have to read the books, he just wanted to be able to listen to them. So he went to an eye doctor and pretended that he couldn't see. And in the episode of Seinfeld, so you see him sitting there, and his big eye chart thing there, and he's sitting there, and you see a big giant E up there, and he's like, "Q? No. Wow, I had to say," and he's like shows him like the next one. He's like, "Is that a ship?" He's like, I got nothing here. I got nothing. So the eye doctor says to George, "I have to say, George, your vision is terrible. So I'm gonna have to mark it down here as legally blind." And he takes the form. He's like, "All I need now is for you to sign the form, and I'll send you on your way." And he holds the pencil out, or the pen out, to George. "This was a test. Are you faking?" George didn't fall for that. George no fool. So what does George do? He sticks his hand out and grabs the guy's face. He's sort of holding his face for a second there. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." His old man doctor. "Oh, I'm so sorry. But might I say, you're a very handsome man." So I'm like, this guy's saying "sa" to me. This is a test. This is a test. So he goes, "Sa." And I look at him and I'm like, "Look, I really think that you've been holding me up here. I got to get to my family. I'm just wondering if you could please just let us go. I'm a really good driver. I'm telling you, I'm an excellent driver. I'm a really good driver. I'm an excellent driver." So he's like, "Sa." So I'm like, "Oh, go." He goes, "Sa." I'm like, "Okay. Oh, okay, thank you." And I drove him away. And my son was like, "Did you think that was a test?" I'm like, "Oh, that was totally a test. That was totally a test." Because if I just pulled out, he would have pulled me back over. I'm sure of it. He would have been yelling, "This guy speaks Hebrew." Anyway, so yeah. If you don't want to get a ticket from a cop and you're in a foreign language, you're in a foreign land where they speak a foreign language. Perhaps in England it would work also. You just be like, "I don't understand. Did you stop for the wheelie bin, sir? I don't know what you're saying. These are not words. I speak English." What? Maybe they come from Steins. It's very easy to fake. Anyway, that was when I got pulled over by cops. All right, let me get back to work now. Okay, you got your story. I want to get into a couple last things here. First of all, yesterday or 2 days ago, I don't even know time anymore because time is a mystery. Everyone must stand alone. Is this it? Oh, yeah, this is it. This was the one I wanted to get. Hold on, that's the wrong one. That's coming second, I think. Yeah. Maybe over there. Yeah, I don't know where I put it. All right. I guess we'll cover it this way. This happened yesterday, in case you're unaware of it. Never let the left ever claim that they stand up for women, because the left does not care about women. If you're sorry, ladies, you double X folk, they don't care about you. They don't like you. They never did like you. They were simply faking it because they wanted your vote. They never loved you. They were never good for you. They were very, very bad for you. They're very bad people. They're like a bad boyfriend where they lure you and they're like, oh, I'm going to take you on all these different trips. Oh, I'm going to get you to the ERA land. Oh, women aren't getting equal pay. We're going to get you equal pay. They don't care about you. They just want your votes. That's all they ever wanted. Because as soon as the newest chick walks down, also that chick could literally is a dude with tennis balls in his top. They're like, oh, who's that? Like the old meme there. Whoa. And women walking next to him are like, that's what the Democratic Party is, right? I mean, that's the Democratic Party. That's what happened with them, right? Like, whoa. Look at those tennis balls. Check out the tennis balls. Yeah, that's what the Democratic Party did. When they said, oh, you want to play in women's sports? Have at it, dude. Have at it. Because you're totally a woman, because you just decided 10 minutes ago that you are. Well, Trump isn't having it. Trump is a ladies' man. Trump is a ladies' man. He's there standing up for the ladies. This one's for the ladies. All right.
You know, just so people understand, in the education world, we're ranked very, very poorly. We're 38, 39, and 40 out of 40 countries.
This wasn't what I wanted. How did I get this one? That's totally the wrong clip. You suck, Joe. You suck. This is what I wanted. We'll start here. I know it doesn't look anything at all like what we're just looking at. All right, New York Times says Trump signs order barring transgender student athletes from women's sports. President said schools that violate the order would jeopardize their federal funding. Jeopardizing their federal funding. Trump signed an executive order on Wednesday aimed at prohibiting transgender women and girls from competing in women's sports, directing agencies to withdraw federal funding for any schools that refuse to comply. Quote, from now on, women's sports will be only for women, he said in the East Room of the White House before signing the order. The order titled Keeping Men Out of Women's Sports and signed on National Girls and Women's in Sports Day sought to deliver on an issue that Mr. Trump made a key theme of his campaign, which frequently denounced transgender athletes. Mr. Trump is relying on the Education Department to achieve the directive's end through a revised interpretation of federal civil rights laws. Schools that do not follow these laws can lose federal funding. The order also directed the State Department to push the International Olympic Committee to make similar changes at the international level, making eligibility, quote, determined according to sex and not gender identity or testosterone reduction, as Ilhan Omar would say it. And in case you don't believe the Times, which frankly, why would you? Why would you? They actually got it right on this one. They actually got it right on that one, and I got visual evidence for you right here.
You want to do this? Watch what
Look at this. Isn't this adorable? Isn't this adorable? Look at this. This is...
Some pens, okay? You ready? What a nice picture this is, huh, Governor? You ready? We'll do a good job. Wait, let me press that. I want to make this a really good signature because this is, you know, this is a big one, right? Oh, I think we have a 10. We have a 10.
God bless you, Mr. President.
There you go. Here.
Pretty
Good for
huh?
you, President Trump.
Okay, good. Now you're going to go out and win those events, right? Nice to see you all. Nice. Great going, everybody. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Thank you, kids. Here, take a pen. I'll give some of these out, okay? Take a pen. Take a
Thank you so much.
Where's
There you go. Just adorable. Because he's a man of the people. So, that's good news. Right? I mean, that's got to be good news. All right. That leads us into our next thing here. You could see why I got confused with the next clip. So that's leading me into my next story, which I'll get to in just a moment. Nancy is still mad. Tornado dropped the house on her sister. Dun, 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 dun. I should have that music every time I'm playing her. Dun, 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 dun. Serious question. What do I do with a half sister who is Catholic but despises Donald Trump? Thoughts, please. Okay. I get this question all the time. You're throwing out there that she's Catholic as if that weighs in on the equation here. As if that weighs in on the equation. The difference between the left and the right, if she's able to listen to you, like actually have a conversation with you without just flying into like a crazy blind rage, the way many TDS sufferers do. Most of them seem to. If she's able to really listen to you, this is what you need to understand. The difference between the left and the right when it comes to Donald Trump is the left takes Donald Trump very literally, but not at all seriously. The right takes Donald Trump very seriously, but rarely very literally. Say that again for you. The left takes him very literally and rarely takes him seriously. The right takes him very seriously and rarely takes him literally. And you could see a Rorschach test. You could see a Rorschach test. Maybe, I don't know, sharing with her with this clip. I don't know, maybe that'll help. I don't know. If you look at a transcript of Trump's phone call with Zelensky that led to his first impeachment, you can read it and just none of us heard the phone call. We're all sitting there reading it. And when you're reading the transcript, you can either read when he says to Zelensky, I don't remember the exact language, but things along the line of, look, we do a lot of things for you. And I'm expecting you to do this investigation into what happened with Biden. Something along those lines. You could read that as his classic colloquial thing. So like, look, we do a lot of things for you. We think it's appropriate you do things back for us. Or you could read it as the left does with a very sinister implication, which is we do a lot of things for you. Kind of think that you should be doing things back for us. Might want to consider doing more for us. We do a lot for you. Which is far more ominous. And when you read the transcript, if you hate Trump, you're going to read it the last way. And if you love Trump, you're going to read it the first way. And he's so polarizing that there's very few people who are in the middle there. At least you should be able to appreciate. So when people hear him talk, I think in their heads, even when it's not a transcript, the left will always, because they're starting with an assumption of this person is pure evil, they're reading into his intentions beyond what he's actually saying. And when he says things in an awkward type of way, they're like, aha, you see, aha, proves it. Because they're constantly looking for validation of a predisposed position. That I'm waiting for him to say something that's going to prove what I already assumed to be the truth about him. But you can ask your sister, or this goes to anyone who's talking to someone, a loved one who has deep emotional issues when it comes to Trump. All these terrible things they say about him. To first and foremost recognize that a lot of people don't take him with that terrible, sinister intent and tone. And they look at it as he's trying to just joke around and have a good time. He might say things in a colloquial type of way. He's much more laid back. He's not a polished politician in the sense of speaking with the polish of a Barack Obama. It's just not who he is. But that if you give him the benefit of the doubt, if you don't start from a place of assuming that he's evil, you can see that he rightly or wrongly, that there is actually an effort there to try to make America a better place. When I first voted for him in 2016, I'm not going to kid you, my vote for him in 2016 was a vote against Hillary because I thought Hillary was arguably the most corrupt person who had ever run for president in history. And it wasn't even close. Everything she had ever accomplished was not a big fat load of nothing. She held titles and positions as Secretary of State and as Senator from New York. You look at her resume of accomplishment, you saw nothing. And all you saw was literally one scandal after another, after another, after another, after another. Benghazi, the Clinton Foundation. I mean, just one, Whitewater, everything, just her entire life was just scandal, 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 scandal. And she always, to me, was patently so power hungry just for the sake of having power, not for the sake of actually using it to help people, that I found her to be utterly repulsive. And I had very low expectations for Donald Trump coming to that first term. And my thoughts on him was essentially that I'm voting against Hillary because I think that I thought she was vile. Really just an evil, nasty, nasty woman. Very self-involved. And I know people would say the same, Trump haters would say the same about him. I'm sure that they would. But I found her to be utterly detestable. And I had very low aspirations. And my one glimmer of hope for him was I looked at him as someone who does have a massive insecurities, which I think he has less today, that manifest in a need to have his ego stroked. And that this is his personal foibles. This is how I looked at him. And I said to myself, someone like this wants to have a positive legacy that they leave behind, if only because their insecurities and the ego is desperate to have people say, wow, you did a great job as president. So in that sense, I felt like my interest of having a president do well for America would hopefully align with his interest of having people think he did a great job. And then that was the one hope I had for, even though I thought that he had real personal failings, for believing that, maybe he's going to deliver, perhaps not out of a love for America, but out of love for self, a love for himself, that this way history will look back at him as if he was a good, if not great, president. And that would motivate him to actually benefit America. Like I was banking on his insecurity being a benefit to America and his need to be loved, because he definitely needs to be loved. It's a very, very apparent that he craves that love, as most of us do, frankly. I mean, every one of us wants to be loved by the entire world. But he wears it on his sleeve to a degree. And frankly, if you look at his policies and what he did some remarkable things in his first term. I mean, remarkable. His foreign policy was exceptional. And the economy started spurring on. There were so many amazing things he did, certainly during the first 3 years. Everything, there's practically world peace all over the place. And the rhetoric against him was always, he's evil, he's self-interested, he's evil. And you should just ask your sister, ask your local TDS sufferer, ask them this. Why did nobody think he was evil 6 years before? Why is it in 2012 he's on The View and they're all kissing him and all saying he's wonderful? Why is he winning awards in the NAACP? Why is Al Sharpton draping him and lauding him as the best white person ever? And how does he go from that, a lifetime of that he was in the public specter for decades and decades, and lauded up and down, getting interviews with Barbara Walters, and Whoopi's hugging him, and Joy Behar's hugging him, and everywhere he goes, everyone loves him. And as soon as he says, I'm running for office, all of a sudden he's a racist, he's a sexist, he hates women, he hates whatever. Does he blunder in things he says? Yes. Can he be gross sometimes because he's trying to be popular? He wants to say something that people think is funny. Did he do that like when he went on the Howard Stern show and made a comment about, grabbing a woman? A grotesque comment that he called locker room talk. And what did he mean when he's saying locker room talk? He's like, look, in that sphere, in that environment, that's the kind of conversation they're looking for. So I was feeding them. I was giving them what they want. I'm a showman. I'm giving them what they wanted. We all understood that. The left was looking for a reason to hate on him. So it's like, what the hell does that mean? You're still reflecting who you are, that you're a vulgar person. And it's like, if you actually listen to what he said, he never said he did it. He was basically saying this could be done. But if you say that to someone on the left, like, hey, you're just trying, you're a crazy Trump fan, you're whitewashing his sins. But like when, and I'm sure she probably hears about the trials and all this other stuff. And you have to just sort of walk her through and say they worked so hard changing laws in New York to try and find a basis to go after him, where they literally rewrote statutes to give E. Jean Carroll a basis to go after him. And she comes up with these crazy stories that she doesn't even remember what happened. She doesn't remember what month or year it was. And all of a sudden, this is believed as being like, this is gospel truth. This is truth that he's like, I don't know who the heck this woman is, and he owes her $90 million. It's like, come on. And if you judged him by the same yardstick as any other celebrity, and this is the best dirt they can come up on him, this is the worst thing they can come up on him, you want to believe he slept around with Stormy Daniels? Okay, that's very possibly true. Does that make him someone who's like, is that a detraction from his moral character? You can definitely make that claim for sure, 100%. I would agree it is a detraction of moral character. But this is like the grave sin. This is like, oh my gosh, this is the calamity. Like no one ever heard of a rich guy who has tons of women who were constantly around him taking advantage of that situation. Is it something to be proud of? No. I mean, to try and make it like this is a crime. He's got 34 felonies because of how he's doing the bookkeeping and this and that. I mean, look at how convoluted everything is here, and trying to find some way, how can we turn this into a felony? This is the best they can do. If he was engaged in actual scandals, like really, really seriously wrong stuff, wouldn't he have been charged with that? So hopefully you can start just waking up to the fact that try looking at him just not as a good person, not as a terrible person, just as like if a total stranger you would just meet, would you really come to these terrible conclusions about him that you likely are? And the chances are pretty high that you wouldn't. Maybe that'll help. I don't know. You're an excellent driver, Raymond. You picked up where I was going on that, huh? You picked up. I think Chris got his $5 out of that one, right? You got money worth on that one. Nancy, don't mix your meds because you'll start telling the truth and you fall down the stairs. We all know Lady Lawgic drives you everywhere, sir. Stop lying about it and own it. No, I know that would be a dream come true. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen. doesn't happen as much as I would like it to. The crosswalk does not indicate where to stop. The white line before the crosswalk is called the stop bar. You stop there. I don't know who taught you to drive. Did my Willie bend in the hotel? Thank you, officer. MAGA is supercharged V8 racing engine fired up on the 20th running on 2 cylinders. Trump and Vance next week. We got 2 more firings, Musk and Hegseth. Oh, speaking of which, we should check up on this. I want to see if it's still going on. There's a filibuster, an all-night filibuster, because they don't want this guy Vaught to get in. An all-night filibuster. Let's see if we can check it out. But this is so old school, where in order to not have a vote, here it is. They just keep talking and talking all night long. Why am I getting this?
Is there a way we can build a humanitarian corridor off that mountain?
This
Are there
is
ways
live.
in which we can try to protect them
This is live
from being
at 1 o'clock
annihilated?
in the morning.
And you want to know who the first Americans were that went there? Under dangerous circumstances, deep in enemy territory. It was a USAID DART team, a disaster assistance response team, there with alongside our military.
He literally can be
that helped
talking
the
longer
president
than
of the
me
United
doing a
States
show.
make
And then he
decisions
passes the
in
power
the
on to someone else. Talking about
situation
nothing.
room about what to do
Because
next.
they can't have a vote as long as they're having debate on the floor. And that's just old school. I was talking about filibuster, which means that you have to get 60 votes. This is the old school definition of filibuster, where it's like we're just going to keep talking and 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 talking, so we can't have a vote. God bless these idiots, because they don't want Russ Vaught to become the OMB. Have you ever seen people fighting so hard over an OMB nomination? The reason they don't want Russ Vaught, the reason they don't want him in there, is because I think this is actually my senator. I think this is my new senator. Is that who this is? I think that is. I think this is the guy from Jersey, right?
Helping with the eradication of smallpox, saving countless lives through simple oral rehydration therapies, things like that had immeasurable countless benefits.
It is Andy Kim.
It was a legacy that excited me when I walked up on my first day of work as a recent college grad.
See,
and then
he's the
just
freshman.
this past Monday,
He's the freshman senator. They're making him do the night shift of the filibuster. What a loser. Oh my God. When I talk, I'm sitting here talking at 1 o'clock in the morning also. So at least I'm not one to talk, right? Today we're adding number 5 with Bondi firing. They can't handle 4 cylinders. What are they going to do with, we get the last 3 with Cash, RFK Jr. and Tulsi. I don't know if RFK is going to get there. I'm hoping he does. But Cash and Tulsi, I'm starting to believe in. What if USAID is how they pay off sex accusers? I don't think that's how they do it. They have a special slush fund for that. Congress has a special slush fund for that. All right. Last topic I need to get into here. It starts with this. How do I have this? We'll pick up where we left off.
You know, just so people understand, in the education world, we're ranked very, very poorly. We're 38, 39, and 40 out of 40 countries. We're at the bottom of the pack almost always, or very close to it. That just came out. We're 40 out of 40. And if we move it back to the states, I will guarantee you that if you take Idaho, you take Iowa, you take almost any of the states that I'm.
John, I missed this earlier. I think Joe should be president. John Reb saying I think Joe should be president of Gaza Strip and call it Nearland.
Looking at right now, they'll be as good as Norway. Yes. You have Norway, you have Sweden, you have Denmark. I must say you have China that's very high in the pack, which is no longer, we can say it has to be a small area. China is very big, but they do a very good job. But we'll have at least 35 of our states that will be as good or better than any of those countries, and we have to get it done.
There you go. So he doesn't like the Department of Education. He doesn't like it. We saw another clip from him on that yesterday. Here's Chip Roy talking about it. There's no video here. It's just audio.
Difficult will it be to get rid of the Department of Education?
Well, I want to put it in perspective for all your listeners that the Department of Education didn't exist before 1979. Now, I don't know how old you are, but, I'm 52. I was born in 1972. I started school right before, the Department of Education even existed. We put a man on the moon in 1969, a full 10 years before the Department of Education existed. We believe that America's overall education performance and rank in the world, and the data bears this out, was significantly higher before the Department of Education.
Being paid
so one has to wonder that in the 45 years since the Department of Education has existed, what have we gotten for it? The data will show you it has gotten a significant amount of spending for the bureaucrats in Washington, a significant amount of spending for administrators across the entire country. And look, there are local and state problems too. You listeners out there, make sure Austin is hearing you on not just school choice, but on serious reform. When you hear they want to have teacher pay increase, say great, but go take that money out of the administrators, right? Don't have a vice principal of equity. Don't have a fourth vice principal of, all the fields, whatever it is. When I was a kid, I don't know about you, but we had a principal and we had some teachers, and that's what we had. So, get back to the basics. So the Department of Education is part of that problem. It's not even in the Constitution. It's not an enumerated power. I'm perfectly content with Texas, which, by the way, is the 8th largest economy in the world. I think we can figure it out.
Yeah, I think they can. I think they can. I want to give the other side. I don't want to give them short shrift. The other side of this. I do want to give. So I want to share with you something that I stumbled on. Something I stumbled on. Here's someone who I actually invited to debate me on this topic about the Department of Education. That's right. I invite people to debate me. Because he had the audacity to claim that his side is more educated. And I'm like, hey, why don't you come debate? Why don't you come discuss this with me? I didn't say debate. I said, why don't you come on the show and discuss it with me? Just come on the show. This is him here. Advice from Lewis. All right, let's hear from Lewis.
We need to get rid of the Department of Education.
Why do you think that?
Trump said he wants states to run schools and not the Department of Education. Every state is different. It was smarter for states to determine what the kids need best.
The Department of Education doesn't tell schools what to teach. That's up to the states.
Wait, what? I didn't know that. What else did they know?
The Department of Education provides funding to low-income communities so that they can receive an education to include students with disabilities.
Well, I have common sense. So with disability, I don't care because it doesn't affect
Well, you should care because the workforce is going to really depend on the education that we have in America.
But then, why did our education numbers get worse? Like, why are we 40th in the world now? Do you think there's a different? Do you think there's a? This is the first question I asked him on this, because I did say to him, "Welcome to my show to discuss your position on this further." We'll see if I hear from him. I don't think I will.
Pretty low on the totem pole. So
Trump said kids aren't receiving an education because we're staffed with people that hate our children because of the.
No, not because of that. Because look at the numbers. See, he's setting up straw men that he can sort of knock down.
On the education that we have in America, we're really low on the totem pole. So
Trump said kids aren't receiving an education because we're staffed with people that hate our children because of the Department of Education. So doesn't getting rid of it mean our kids?
No, that's not why. He never said that once. They're just completely making that up.
You understand that the Department of Education also gives out FAFSA and student loans.
Well, I never went.
FAFSA is not a good thing. So this is a big mistake that this gentleman is making. And if he comes on the show, I will talk to him respectfully, and I expect to repudiate every single speaking point that he's making here. FAFSA is a terrible thing. FAFSA is a disastrous thing. Because as soon as we introduced FAFSA, that's when FAFSA, in case you're unfamiliar with it, is the program through which you can apply for federal aid for higher education and get loans. Well, the more FAFSA numbers were increasing, the more schools started charging. So the price of an education went through the roof specifically because of FAFSA. Now, I've talked before on this show about my recommendation for how we can fix the financial crisis in higher education. First and foremost, I think our schools of higher education are no longer schools of higher education. All too often, they're just schools of enabling whatever emotional issues you walk into school crippled with. But let's put that aside and pretend for a moment that they were still teaching kids effectively in these schools of higher education. My suggestion, I'm not going to go into detail about it now. I'll probably do it again some other time. Almost likely, very in the near future, is simply this: you say to these higher education schools, you need to match the pricing that is set by the nearest city to you that offers school education. Whatever they're charging to the local residents, because I went to CUNY, right? City University of New York, which is designed to be bare bones cost. You need to match their per credit charges, and also no built-in built-in room, board, all that other crap that books, ridiculous charges for books. You need to match this and cap out what your costs are. Otherwise, you're no longer eligible to be a 501c3 nonprofit institution. And because if you're charging such high rates, you're operating for profit. And we can figure out what a fair price is by basically looking at your local city university and what they're charging per credit. There's no reason that you should be charging 20 times that, or 10 times that, 15 times that, 20. I don't even know what multiple they're charging per credit. Ridiculous. So you can pick your poison, cut your fee that you're charging your students to, if not matching your local city university prices, being in the same ballpark, maybe 10% higher, have a certain cap on what you're going to charge for room and board. And the rest of it, you get from donations. Because all these institutions of higher learning, they rake in tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions per year from alumni, especially the elite Ivy League schools. Hundreds of millions. They don't need to charge tuition from anyone. They only charge it because they can. And the only reason they charge such high rates is because FAFSA is paying them. So these kids basically sign their lives away through FAFSA, committing to paying $300,000 for some stupid piece of paper that they hang on their wall, which frankly all too often doesn't help them actually know how to do anything that their employer is going to need them to do. Simply says that they had the will and the effort to sit through class for 4 years and get a passing grade, or sometimes do well in their classes, but doesn't really make them fit to actually perform a job task that their employer is going to need them to do for $300,000. It's insanity. That's before they go into graduate school. It doesn't make any sense. The only reason it's so high is because of FAFSA. If there was no FAFSA and the schools knew that no one could afford it, they wouldn't be charging it. And frankly, these really rich schools like the Harvards, the Yales, Stanfords, they don't need any tuition because they rake in so much money in 501c3. Alumni giving donations to them, there are tax deductions for them, for the recipient, and for the gifter because they're not-for-profit. So if you say, hey, you're going to lose your not-for-profit status unless you slash those tuition rates, they'll slash them because they cannot afford to lose those donors. And if they don't have 501c3 status, they're going to lose them. So they'll slash their rates. Now you might say, well, Joe, you're a capitalist. Joe, I'm doing my best Chunk Hugo. I thought you're a capitalist. What's going on here? I am a capitalist. I am. And I'm saying you as a business entity have to make a decision. It's that simple. You're either for profit or you're not for profit. If you're charging such exorbitant rates for your education, then you're not for profit. You're very, very much for profit. And if you're for profit, we the government are entitled to take taxes on those donations. It's that simple. Make them choose to pick their poison. Presto bammo. All of a sudden, the price of tuition will, and then you're not going to need FAFSA. You're not going to need FAFSA. No one's going to need FAFSA. So all this thing, you're not going to need it.
Went to college, so I do not care. Donald Trump said he doesn't care about college and he loves the uneducated. What the Department of Education possibly do for the American citizens?
They also give out grants. They've given over $100 billion worth of grants to.
Yeah, that's a problem. It shouldn't be $100 billion worth of grants. That's crazy. That's crazy. $100 billion worth of grants. $100 billion worth of grants. That's $100 billion that they give to universities.
Student loans, work studies.
Wait, if they provide financial aid for people that can't actually afford college, why does Trump want to get rid of it?
Trump wants to cut these things because it doesn't benefit him.
Oh, so that's not completely ridiculous TDS bias there. That's why. That's why. As opposed to the bloated waste. As opposed to the fact that we pay more per student in K through 12 than any other country on the planet, and we're 40th. So something's going wrong here. Uniquely wrong in this country. And it only started happening, I don't know, since 1979. So you do the math. You tell me what you think the problem is. Why is it so much worse than it was in 1980 today? Why? There's got to be some explanations. What happened? That became so expensive for us to do such a crappy job.
He doesn't receive anything from it, so he wants to get the money.
Let's sit here with your little TDS saying it's because he doesn't benefit from it. It's so stupid.
That's going there to another area that he can actually benefit from.
What does he benefit from? What is it going to that he benefits from?
But he said that they're the reason that our kids are getting forward anti-American ideology. Why would you want us to receive less?
Because an educated American is more likely to question Trump.
Look, I know
this is more of his derangement over here. Yeah, that's what he's very afraid of. He's very afraid of that during the next 4 years, they're going to go to school, get educated, and then be a threat to him as some 20-year-old, 22-year-old who's going to really be a real threat to him when he's at the end of his political career. That's why he's trying to get rid of it. Stupid.
I didn't receive an education, and I never questioned Trump. But how do you know that's true?
Because the majority of Trump's fan base is very uneducated.
Yeah, that's more your ridiculous TDS.
Okay, but how do we know kids aren't taking advantage of these systems? How do we know the money's actually going to where it needs to go to?
And I don't know what the hell is with these stupid screaming things. Anyway, so I gave you enough of the other side of the coin. I gave you enough of that. It's kind of annoying listening to the stupid, I don't know what gimmick he has there with people like yelling stupid, ridiculous straw man points. So, I'll give you one more thought on this before we get to the big news.
Of education is a scam. Yes, it should be eliminated. Why do you feel that way? First of all, constitutionally, I'm not certain that it's even consistent with the constitutional intent that the federal government should have a role in education. Number two, ever since the formation of the Department of Education, test scores have gone down. Our schools are a disaster. Education is the most personal thing. It's the development of the soul. It's the development of the character of an individual. And the federal government has failed miserably in the education of our children.
I disagree with him on this.
We rank 36 of industrialized countries when it comes to education. We are.
The last thing I want any school to be engaging on is development of the soul, unless it's a religious institution. You're a Catholic school, you're a Muslim institution, you're a Jewish institution, a Hindu, whatever it is. You're a religious institution. You want to look at the institution as part of what they're doing is education of the soul. Okay, fine. Last thing I ever want is any of these woke idiots helping people, try to develop their character.
Significantly behind many of our competitors. We need to send all the education back.
And I like Charlie Kirk. I think he's a smart guy. And I think that he's a real asset. He's a real asset to American culture. I think he's a great asset to American culture. I'm a big fan of his. I don't always agree with him. And here's one of the rare cases where I actually disagree with him as far as that's what the role of education is.
States and local municipalities. What do you think parents watching this should do? Something actionable. I understand that everyone has different financial pressures and sensitivities, but if you're able to do it, homeschool your kids. Take your kids out of the government education system and educate them yourself.
That I agree with. This one we got already. Oh, what's it? This is what I was looking for. Press release from Thomas Massey. But he introduced, Representative Thomas Massey announced that he's reintroduced H.R. 899, a bill to abolish federal Department of Education. It's one sentence long saying the Department of Education shall terminate on December 31st, 2026. Unelected bureaucrats to Washington, D.C. should not be in charge. You got to like a bill like this. That's it. Department of Education shall terminate on December 31st, 2026. I actually didn't notice the date on that. That did come out last week. So there you go. There you go. Thomas Massey wants to take it down. Take it down. I can only hope. But now it's all over. It's all over social media today. Today, it's all anyone's talking about is we're taking down USAID. We're taking down the Department of Education. Thomas Massey wants to come in. You can't get afuera. Afuera. God bless him. God bless him. God bless Tom Massey. So that was it. I know. I made that like my whole thumbnail. It was like, a cartoon picture there that I got Grok to generate for me. But I was like, if you want to know how that picture came about, I'm talking about this thing that I created. I'll give you a little how the sausage is made. So this picture over here, I asked Grok, make a picture. I want a cartoon image of Donald Trump and Thomas Massey, each of them holding an axe and hacking away at a sign that says Department of Education. And make sure Thomas Massey has his name on him. And the first images they generated for me were the axe looked crooked. They had 3 arms. They're both holding the axe. It looks like, I don't even know, they're playing tug of war with an axe. I don't know what the heck was happening. One image after another. And then they recommended, they're like, would you like to try swords? I'm like, okay, let's try with swords. I don't think swords are going to work. Like, do you want to try a chainsaw? Oh, okay, chainsaw to the sign. That would work. They show me chainsaw, like Thomas Massey has a chainsaw that's like, looks like it's like the size of like half his fist. I'm like, and then a recommendation. Do you want to try blowtorch? I'm like, okay, I'll try blowtorch. And they give me these different blowtorch images, and it looked like there's fire. They asked me flamethrower. And it's like they look like they were both on fire. And they're like, you want to try a power pack and like Ghostbusters? And I was like, no, let's try that. And there you go. Boom. A little tweaking. There you go. So I spent all of like 4 minutes talking about that topic, but it should be known. It should be known the bill is out there. Will it pass? So fast that you're going to get 60 senators, and you need 60 on this one. There'll be lots of filibustering. They won't need to filibuster it. They'll just be like, they won't need to filibuster the way Andy Kim is filibustering at 2 a.m. No. Oh, they're done with Andy Kim.
Things, policy, and budget.
This guy.
So happens that the guy that wrote that passage is the guy that's going to be in the job to do that. So
his last name is
that
Schatz.
seems kind of neat. I think OMB should be all powerful.
I'm not making that up. This guy's name is Schatz. I only know that because I've seen him.
Understand what happened last week really means.
Right.
It was an attack on all of us.
That's his. I didn't make up his name. Don't look at me. I didn't make up the name. His name is Schatz.
Federal funding was suspended. Millions of Americans.
It's got to be past tense for something.
We're in the dark. How they would access.
I don't know.
Healthcare, education, childcare,
I-
small business loans,
I
VA loans,
think it'd be incredibly
disaster
brave
relief,
of him if he had a
opioid
kid and
treatment,
he named
everything
him
from
Bull.
road repairs to cancer research are shut down.
Bull is
across
not
the
a name.
country.
Bull
you
is
have to
not a
ask,
name.
aside from
I
the
don't.
very obvious fact
You're
that
asking if
withholding
that's
funding
Jewish.
from
I don't.
Congress
I've never
that
met a
has
Schatz
already
before.
appropriated funding is plainly illegal. You have to ask, what on earth does so-called wokeness have to do with repairing a road or letting people fill their prescriptions at a
Wait,
community
are you saying because of his nose? Is that what you're asking me? Is it?
Survivors of
Is
a
this because of the
flood or a
nose?
wildfire
Is that what it is?
to try to rebuild their lives?
Oh
Is a child having a healthy meal
Oh my god.
DEI? Is that, I don't know, gender ideology? Or is that the Green New Deal? Like, seriously, what the hell are we doing here? A president is allowed to make policy. A president is expected to.
They're so scared of Russ Vought. You want to know why they don't want Russ Vought? Because apparently he was the guy who drafted Project 2025. And there's so stupid. He drafted Project 2025. So this stupid dinky position of being head of the OMB, which is a person who cuts the checks out that go out to like wherever the Treasury is sending their money. That's the head of the OMB. He oversees that department, which actually has the checkbook and sends out the checks for the millions and billions of dollars that our government is so want to spend willy-nilly. They're afraid, I guess, he's going to sign them wrong. I don't know what he's not going to sign them. He's not going to send them. I don't know what they're afraid of, but they're very, very afraid. They're very, very afraid of him. So, yeah. And they made a big stink about how he's the author of Project 2025, which I do think it would be hilarious if after all the confirmations come forward, Trump would be like, all right, confirmation's done. Now it's time to start engaging in Project 2025. Just watch the heads just. Oh, that would be delicious. That would be such an amazing troll. And he's just the president to do it. He's just the president to do it. I think he really might. Is it too much to ask, Donald? Is it too much? Anyway. I didn't get loans through FAFSA. I got grants. Well, I got 26K in loans, also mostly grants. I would be dependent if I hadn't gone to college. Yeah, because when you went to college, college was helping you. That's why. When you went to college meant something. I went to college also. You have to go to college to get a law degree. I went to college also. I still remember some stuff I learned in college as an undergrad. I remember taking a business class. I remember some stuff from there. I developed I solidified my desire to become a lawyer after I took a business law class with Professor Axelrod. He was a big fan of mine. And yeah, I remember a couple of classes that I had. Professor Rackman, who was like a business professor. I went to Baruch, which specialized in business. It was in the city. That's where I graduated undergrad. Anyway, so yeah, and I got grants. I got grants also, but I earned them, and I don't know how that works. I got Pell Grants? Oh, I'm pretty sure I got grants. But I don't think I got. And I think you can get grants without Department of Education. I think there are plenty of grants to get without Department of Education. Isn't 1979 the year we stopped saying Pledge Allegiance? They also stopped teaching civics. It was around then, but that was a Supreme Court case. That was a Supreme Court case. I can check that out for you. I'm curious, man. 2002, the phrase a federal appeals court in San Francisco ruled that the phrase "under God" in Pledge of Allegiance violated separation of church and state. Such a ridiculous thing. Such a ridiculous thing. Such a poorly thought out decision. But it's not technically banned if you take out "under God." If you want to get this generation's vote, stop the funding. The states will close schools and the kids will be so happy. There you go. I like it. I like it. I like to watch them on a high-speed roller coaster. Are you talking about Kim? Who's that? You wrote that at 1:39. That was 4 minutes ago. What was I doing 4 minutes ago? What was I doing 4 minutes ago? Someone Thomas Massey. I don't know. Big Boop. Welcome back, Big Boop. Welcome back indeed. New member of the following. And speaking of capitalism, Governor Abbott announced the Texas Stock Exchange. Did he really? I missed that. I'm curious about that. I have to look into that. Thank you for sharing that. I didn't know that, Ellie. I did not know. All right. Remember I told you I was going to be crashing at a certain point? We're definitely past that point. I'm crashing. I am going to wish you all well. Thank you for joining me. Tomorrow I do plan on having a locals. I'm going to get more detail, other stories that happened, like when we went to the Dead Sea when I was in Israel. I'll share more about my trip. That's at goodlogic.locals.com. While you're here, please drop a like, a share, comment. A lot of great comments yesterday on yesterday's show when I said comment. So if you could do that, that'd be awesome. Awesome. I really appreciate it. Because, commenting is for you. Like just coming by here, watching, devouring the show, and not hitting like and subscribe. That's for they, them. Not for you. And that's also lab meat is also for they, them. Not for you. And finally, as we like to remind everyone here, don't eat the bugs. Don't eat them. Don't do it. Don't eat the bugs. And I think that covers it all. I think I said pretty much everything I had to say. And with that, I say to you, my friends, thank you for coming by. Goodlogic.locals.com. Goodlogic.locals.com. Good night and Godspeed.